icebreaker with a Slido. If you can join us and tell us where are you coming from.
Hi everyone from Beyond the Urban. Welcome all our partners and friends from Urbact, the ULG members of our network. I'm just still letting people in, so let's do what Jon suggested. Let's do a heartbreaker, icebreaker.
Okay, today, as you're hearing this, I created an original soundtrack for the webinar, and I will be sharing with you the music. I don't know if you recognize this song, but I will be putting some songs during the Slido moments. Okay?
Yeah.
So we have people from Romania, Hungary, and Italy for the moment.
And Portugal.
I cannot type in Slido.
How is that?
Well, I cannot enter my text.
Is it working, Nicola? If not,
Sorry?
is it working?
No,
Okay.
I cannot enter my text.
So
Maybe
it's
first time.
Northern Macedonia. If somebody can text it.
Street life until you play your life away.
I didn't know that mobility and rural were countries. I didn't know those names. But yes, you can type wherever you want, and let's be creative.
Good. So we are 23 here. It's more or less, it's a little less than people inscribed, but some of them already send emails informing that they cannot assist. So do you mind if I make a kind of welcome and then we start? Great. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar towards Rurbanism. Basically, because we are talking about urban planning in rural areas, so it's kind of term to describe it. We are glad to see that the wide range of people are here today, mainly from the Urbact ecosystem, ULG members. Welcome, all of you. I want to tell you that from the beginning of the Beyond the Urban journey, urban planning was a topic that we wanted to tackle because there's this shared interest of what can we do in our spaces, in our surroundings that promote a change in the culture, in the way people move, and in the decisions that they take. So we are happy today to have Jon Aguirre with us to share with us some concepts and also inspire us with some case studies, examples, etc. So, Jon, the floor is yours.
So, hello everybody. Thanks, Monica, and thanks to Beyond the Urban Network for inviting me for this to do this webinar. First of all, my name is Jon Aguirre. I'm really happy to be here. Maybe some of you already know me for other Urbact events, but I look slightly different because I shaved off my mustache after 18 years with it. So that's why why you don't recognize me. So, but I'm the same person. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm an architect, urban planner. I've spent 15 years working in the fields of sustainable urban development and also territorial and rural planning, bridging urban and rural scales as well. I'm co-founder of Paisaje Transversal and Office of Participatory and integrated sustainable urban and territorial planning. And we developed over 200 projects across Spain and Europe. Between 2017 and 2023, I was the Spanish National Urbact Point Coordinator. And also between 2020 and 2022, I was the Spanish national expert for the Smart Rural 21 program, supporting Smart Village strategy of ANSO. And also during that same period, I collaborated with the leader group in the Basque Country, ACI Fundazioa, supporting a network of 7 rural municipalities developing their smart village strategies. My experience ranges from different kind of projects related not only for urban planning, but also mobility and public space designs, such as Barcelona's super blocks, complete streets implementation in ASPE, also different projects of collaborative design of public space, such as Valencia City Hall Square or Prado Grande Park in Torrelodones, a city near Madrid. And for sure, with different local participation processes in different scales, from small villages to territorial scale. So I have this background that combines this urban and rural approach. And all this experience and all these projects regarding this rural and urban context shaped me a strong conviction is that for me, rural areas are not just a smaller or less dense version of cities. They are an entirely different ecosystem and that deserve specific and sensitive and bold planning strategies. So let's briefly explain what are we going to do today. First of all, this webinar, just to mention that this webinar is designed to be interactive and somehow inspirational. And rather than having a one-way presentation, it will also include different interactive or Slido moments to somehow create this participatory atmosphere. In fact, I was warned that maybe this kind of webinars or meetings or online meetings, and I'm aware that it's not easy to have a lot of interaction, and that maybe Beyond the Urban partners were not the most, or the Beyond the Urban events, online events were not the most interactive events. but I'm sure that that's not true, and let's put this into test. So, well, as you can see, I structure this webinar in 3 main blocks. First of all, I will go through the urbanism concept and try to make it clear or clarify which is the concept and what it is, where it comes from, and why it matters. Then I will focus also in the main 2 topics of this webinar: sustainable rural mobility and livable public spaces that we will explore through frameworks and real examples. And then I will finally have case studies and final reflections with concrete practices and other interesting examples coming from Urbact. And well, I don't know if you have any questions about the structure or contents of this webinar. If not, I have some questions to ask through Slido. So I would like to know from your side, which are your expectations for this webinar, or what are you hoping to learn? Just type any ideas that they came from your. Okay. Okay, I will share my screen. One moment, also here.
Sorry, is it just my problem, or I'm not hearing?
I'm not
Jon?
hearing too.
Okay, okay.
I don't know.
Okay, his microphone is dead.
Okay.
Yeah, most probably.
I think changing the screen. Jon, you've lost your micro.
Hello, Jon.
No.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We've lost
Okay.
you.
So you lost the song also? Okay.
We lost your sound. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But we
something.
saw the answers to the Slido,
Yeah.
especially.
Well, I
Um,
put a very nice song that is called "Great Expectations" by Gaslight Anthem, but yeah, it fitted well with the. So, yeah, you saw the answers from well your own expectations, and somebody tell about Lermont about the concept of urbanism. So let's go. Well, they open to surprises, adding sustainable mobility in rural areas, new ideas, best practices, and so on. So let's deep dive now in the concept of urbanism, and let's try to understand better what is this concept and where does it come from. So yeah, first of all, the term of urban might sound new, but
John, I think you are sharing the wrong screen, isn't it?
what?
Because I don't. Does everyone see the PowerPoint? I don't see the PowerPoint.
Understanding Rurbanism.
Understanding
Yes, I
Rurbanism.
think.
I see it.
Yeah, I see it too.
Okay, so it's my sorry, it's my problem.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. So as I was mentioning, the urbanism concept and its roots on the term urban, that may sound new, but it was first used by Patrick Geddes, is one of the fathers of the modern planning in the early 20th century. I don't know if it rings you a bell, this name, but it was a very important theoretical, a very important urban planner. And he established this concept because he saw potential in combining the best of urban and rural life. And this led that this idea evolved over time into the idea of urbanization, that meaning the spread of urban traits into rural contexts. And then in recent years, particularly in European policy, we've seen a rise of the idea of the concept of this urbanism as a planning concept, suggesting that we can bridge urban and rural through hybrid strategies. However, as you can see in the slide, these two terms are frequently misunderstood or misused. In this sense, urban is often a very vague label that can mean like a person, a place, or a lifestyle that mixes rural and urban concepts, but it really doesn't always say or establish how or why is something urban or not. On the other hand, urbanization sadly has become synonymous for suburbanization or urban sprawl. And finally, urbanism, I think it's a really promising idea, and that's why I decided to name this webinar with this concept. But it's a risk of becoming a kind of cosmetic justification for unsustainable urban sprawl or urban expansion. So, as I say, on paper, urbanism sounds promising. Sorry. But we can see that in practice and across Europe, this idea of urbanism is sometimes used for justifying this urban sprawl or the diffusion of car-based, fragmented developments in rural areas, or even the implementation of urban style and infrastructures that don't respond to rural context. So instead of empowering rural communities, some of these urbanist interventions, they bring somehow these top-down solutions, erase landscape and cultural identity, and in a way, they also can increase the territorial imbalance. That's why I think that we need to really rethink or reclaim this urbanist term, not as a buzzword, but as a strategy rooted in ecology, local identity, and spatial justice. And rethinking urbanism, it means, well, we can rethink urbanism through three key lessons, or my proposal is to rethink urbanism through three perspectives. The first, for sure, it will be like urbanism has to be smart and not sprawling, and village should be truly contextual and inclusive, and using technology for that purpose, not using technology just for digitalization and so on. Another important thing regarding this, it will be for sure local innovation. I think that urban or rural areas are good fields that to host experimental and high impact solutions. And for sure, and finally, this ecological approach has to be ensured, and because, as we know, territorial planning needs to respect ecosystem scales and rural rhythms. So, this idea of bad urbanism has already highlighted by different European frameworks, initiatives like smart villages, the rural and urban linkages agenda of the OECD, or even the territorial agenda 2030. All these documents point toward more integrated and balanced approaches to rural development. And they somehow advocate for functional cooperation, mobility, equity, and digital innovation in rural areas. For instance, research programs like ESPON has shown how many rural territories in Europe suffer from what we might call wrong kind of urbanism, like this idea again of peri-urban sprawl, isolated infrastructures, fragmented land uses, and disconnections between where people live and where people work, or even the disconnection between spaces where people live and their access to different services. In this sense, while European discourse and policies try to promote balance and these linkages between rural and urban context, and between services, work, and living in rural areas, maybe local implementations sometimes go in the opposite directions. We can see a lot of different examples in France, Italy, Spain, or even in Eastern European regions of that. And in this sense, when we are talking about, we talk about this bad urbanism or a wrong conception of or conceptual or implementation of this concept in Europe. But I think that in the last few years, there is a path for a better urbanism that is led by this concept, or all the policies that are gathering around the smart village approach. and particularly through the initiatives Smart Rural 21 and Smart Rural 27 that were supported by the European Commission through DG Agri. Well, behind this idea of policies of smart villages, there is a simple, but I think somehow powerful idea that just like cities or smart cities, villages and towns can also use innovation, technology, and cooperation to improve their quality of life. But I think that there is an important change of perspective in this idea of the smart concept applied to villages. Is that rather than having these top-down smart strategies linked to these smart cities and urban contexts, smart villages is placing a strong emphasis on community-led and place-based approach, and also from an integrated approach. I think that this concept, community-led, place-based, and integrated approaches combined are the main core of the smart village concept. That maybe since you are participating in an Urbact network, they also sound really familiar. I see a lot of linkages between this idea of smart villages and also the Urbact method. This means that the smart village strategies or concept focus not only in digital tools or digital platforms, but on strengthening local governance, improving access to services, mobility through smart solutions, enhancing energy resiliency, rural entrepreneurships, and youth engagement, and for sure, revaluing public space and identity as drivers of rural areas' attractiveness. I say this because, well, for my experience in different kind of projects related to this concept, such as the smart village strategy for ANSO in Spain, or the work in the Basque Country with the network of 7 cities. During these projects, I see how these smart village strategies can bring a real impact if they are rooted in these participatory and community-led processes. So I think that a smart village idea can support definitely this good urbanism. So let's really quickly, let's briefly look at a broader European context regarding these 2 main initiatives related to a smart village concept, the Smart Rural 21 and 27. I will mainly talk about the Smart Rural 21 initiative, that it was the one that I was really connected to, and where I collaborated actively. So this first initiative, I think that helped to redefine what smart means in rural development, gathering a lot of the elements that I already mentioned, such as the place-based innovation, participation, integrated approach, sustainability, and the use of digital tools with purpose. It gathered 21 pilot villages from all across Europe, and they had to develop their own smart village strategies, helped by an expert, a national expert, and also with several different kind of capacity and knowledge exchange activities. I think that it may ring you a bell, this kind of methodology. Well, I think in practice, this European vision translated to this specific project can show or can inspire local strategies as good urbanism, and their main elements that we can gather is related to this place-based, participatory, and sustainable and smart with purpose ideas. No, they also the idea of this holistic or integrated approach that combine public services, mobility, economy, housing, and so on is really important for the different strategies that were developed in this project. Well, and then focusing on one example of this, the one that I know best is this first case takes us to the Pyrenees, to the village of Ansó, that it was the only Spanish village selected in this program. But I think that the most important or the most remarkable thing about Ansó's strategy is that it was based on activating a coherent or an integrated strategy around long-term population settlement, no? And introducing ecological planning and also in innovation, no? And applying this smart concept goes far beyond than applying digital solutions in its case. No, it also included different kind of digital solutions, but also establish ideas or projects and about housing, mobility, local economy, or public services, as they all were seen as interconnected and develop an integrated approach for them. No, so I think that the main contributions of this strategy is that for me it grounds innovation in local identity and this idea of strategic planning that is also the basis for your IIPs. It respects ecological constraints while builds resilience, and it helped to strengthen community-based governance and decision-making processes. No? And finally, as I already mentioned, and I'm really focusing on this idea of the integrated perspective of smart villages strategies, since it's also a core idea or a key aspect of your IIPs. So yeah, and so we integrated key systems such as housing, economy, services into a unique or a unified vision or future vision for the village for Ansó. But I think that it really proves that rural areas don't need to copy cities, but they need to build their own. They need to build their strategies on their own strengths. No? And I think that sometimes rural contexts or rural areas are not so aware of their potential or strengths. Then we will work afterwards. We will work on that as well. So finally, and just really quickly, I will also like to explain a little bit this other other experience. Excuse me, can you mute the different mics, because I'm hearing a lot of noises coming from your mics, please? Thank you. Yeah, this second case takes us to well, a broader perspective. It has a regional approach in the Basque Country, and it involves a network of 7 municipalities there that co-developed their own smart village strategies with the support of ASI Fundación. I think this case is relevant because one more time it's really linked to the Urbact method, because it emphasizes on shared learning, on distributed intelligence, and also with this idea of this motto, no, that Urbact has, that is from common problems to shared solutions. No? I think that what they really, with the different villages, really enjoy more or find it more interesting, it was this sharing and this interaction with other villages that has more or less their same problems. No? Also, this case highlights how rural innovation gains scale and deep when it's done collectively, no? And it helps somehow, and we are working now on that also, to create a prototype of a cooperative infrastructure for governance and innovation in rural areas. No? In fact, the new rural law for the Basque Country has been developed, and they are working on how to implement the law through this smart village concept, and also this previous experience of the network of seven cities, and which not only talking about it, and also I think an important point is that its contributions to the idea of urbanism should be, or I think that the main contributions is this idea of multi-level and multilateral governance systems, or how to create these multi-level and multi-local governance systems. I mean that acting together in rural areas, collaborating with different villages, no, makes you stronger. I mean that unifying your strengths can help you to somehow have better dialogues with other institutions, regional or national institutions. Also, the idea of creating shared frameworks or tools for rural planning, and for sure, somehow it helped to create different solutions and strategies on digitalization, mobility, housing, and so on. And each city or each village will somehow develop their own strategies and share with other villages, and they also learn about this and help them to shape their own smart village strategies. And also this idea of cooperative capacity building is really helpful for knowledge sharing methodologies are really helpful for villages, because they see that they are not alone against all the problems they have. And so before we move on a reflection on mobility and public space, I would like to somehow reflect on some of the common patterns that they have emerged from these all three experiences I've explained, and I created this SWOT analysis is for sure summary of all these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that were identified through SMART, Rural 21, 27, and SOS strategy, these Basque countries, Smart Villages Network, and so on. But I think that you should find some common ideas relating your own context, related to your own context. No? And for example, if we are talking about the strengths, we can find this strong place attachment of rural areas, the workability in compact villages, and also the potential of reclaiming underused spaces. Regarding the weaknesses, maybe this poor connectivity, the fragmented planning, well, different or the car-based, the car dependency as a threat, or the shrinking population and investment, and also like the implementation of inappropriate urban models. Also, we have a lot of opportunities such as shared mobility, ecotourism, social innovation, and so on, that could be good opportunities for rural areas development. But besides this, what I don't know if you have any questions for the moment, but I would like also to work in a collective Slido for now on. So I don't know, before we jump into the Slido, if there are any questions. Super clear. You are like my students, that they don't ask anything. Maybe you're very shy people. Okay, we will have different pauses for question and answers, so I hope you encourage yourselves and lead the floor for different answers. So let's go through Slido, and let's begin with this SWOT analysis. And first of all, I will hope this time works. Put some music to cheer up this one. So, okay.
I'm going up the country, where don't you wanna go? I'm going to some place where I've never been before. I'm going where the water tastes like wine. I'm going where the water tastes like wine. You can jump in the water, stay drunk all the time. I'm gonna leave the city, got to get away. I'm gonna leave the city, got to get away. All this fussing and fighting, man, you know I sure can't stay.
Okay, so have about bike routes between settlements, no digital platforms as a strength. Okay, we are talking about the strengths, right? Okay, can high place identity, yeah, this also public transport availability, lack of consistency, informal organized mobility, workability. Okay, I have two questions. And hi-fi soundscaping experience. Can anyone who type this explain a little bit more this idea, and also the idea of no digital platforms?
I'm here, John. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao,
Daniele?
John.
How are you?
Ciao. Hi there. Hi to all. Hi, Monica. Hi, Clyde. Hi to everyone. Ciao. I'm
How are
Daniele.
you?
I'm Daniele from Treviso.
Yeah.
You know, when you experience a rural area, you can experience also a soundscaping experience too. No. While in the meantime, there are too many volumes, too many up and downs between a lo-fi experience and a hi-fi experience in terms of sounds within the city. When you're just outside the boundaries, when you experience the rural areas, you can hear natural sounds like birds and the sounds of the wind and so on. And this for sure contributes to the quality of life of the people.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniele. Great insight. Thank you so much. And what about these non-digital platforms? Nobody has a word about this? Okay. So if not, let's move forward. Let's talk about the weaknesses or limitations around mobility and public space. If we can also start focusing on the topic of the webinar, it will be great.
Cause you got a home, man. Cause I've got mine.
Well, okay, we have a lot of answers already. Limited public transportation options, lack of integration of public and regional transport, bus frequency, dependence on private cars, fast driving or of motorized vehicles, like no bike lanes, reduces accessibility, especially for vulnerable citizens. Okay, I think this part is clear. I don't know if anyone wants to say something about this about any of these ideas, but mainly the main problems or the main weaknesses are the lack of cycling infrastructure, the lack of public transport, and the car dependency. I don't know if anyone wants to say something else.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
We have so our main challenge in Osona. This is a kind of so here in Spain we have this system, this municipality system, that one church is one municipality. That means that we have municipalities with 85 inhabitants. That's the smallest we have. And we have 60% of the municipalities under 1,000 inhabitants here. So you must imagine how a city council or a municipality works. So mainly everyone works part-time and they have their own businesses and they just work for solving daily problems. And it's not usual that they have this strategic perspective. So this means that if you want to build up a network, a cycling network, or even if you want to talk with the regional authority to provide a better service, you need to coordinate. So coordinating all these little municipalities to have a voice and to make decisions together, it's the most difficult part for us.
Okay, thanks, Monica. And let's jump into the opportunities. Which opportunities do you see to improve mobility or public space in your village or region? Well, this song is called, as you can hear, International Love Affair. That is a perfect song for Urbact Network. Okay, so we have a bunch of good, interesting answers. Coordinating for a better services and infrastructure, better public schedules, more space for pedestrians, transport on demand, promoting workability. Well, some are opportunities, some are also like proposals. So, well, and finally, let's talk about the risk or trends that could negatively affecting mobility and public space in your area. I'm going a little bit fast because I see that we are a little bit under the schedule. So, and I promise Clyde that I will be sharp with my my presentation. Okay, so I see a lot of common ideas here too, like finance or lack of investment or budget, the sprawl and the urbanization processes or chaotic urban development, also maybe the lack of investment, but yeah, migration to bigger cities and shrinking processes. So yeah, I think that more or less they are also this SWOT is quite similar to the SWOTs that I've been looking in the different projects that I already explained. So let's jump and let's continue with the presentation. And let's talk about sustainable rural mobility and livable public spaces. Well, I think that you already pointed in this SWOT the main challenges that rural areas like have, like low density, long distances, lack of regular public transport. But I think it's also important to focus on this idea that public space and mobility are more than infrastructure. They play a central role in social cohesion, access to services, care, and everyday well-being in rural areas. If we start talking about these challenges and how to somehow work on this sustainable rural mobility, I think that Urbact already has a lot of lessons or learnings that you can use, and that can somehow help you to improve your IIP strategies, but mainly, I think that one idea that I particularly learned from Urbact networks or even from Smart Rural 21 program is that innovation doesn't always require infrastructures, and this also helps us to rethink what mobility means in rural context. We have now there are ongoing different networks that we will talk about later, like Puma, Small, or Connecting, that are helping us to shape different ideas that could be helpful. For example, in Connecting, we have this idea of 30-minute, they're working on this 30-minute territory that maybe, I don't know if you already have contacts with the different networks, but I think it will be really helpful for you. But in any case, for me, the lesson coming from Urbact is clear. Is that rural mobility can be smart or sustainable or even community driving when it's integrated to a broader strategy or a territorial strategy. And I think that you need or one important thing that you should consider is this idea of this multi-level and multi-stakeholder approach on mobility. So for me, this governance across coordination across the different levels and across the different localities or different villages in a region or a rural area is key. So I will start working strongly on this new kind of governance, territorial governance models. And also another thing that you are working on or you already work is this small scale innovation that could somehow trigger a systemic change with these small scale actions, and we will see examples later on. So some recommendations on sustainable rural mobility that I will highlight. It will be like, you need to integrate mobility in a broader or a wider local action plan. No? That you are now working on really focused on the mobility or public space issues, but I think that you should also rethink in a broader framework. For sure, involving users in co-design, combine different policies, not only transport policies, but care, health, inclusion policies. And for sure, this is also a very strong idea that Urbact IIPs and you are working now is like thinking long-term, but act tactically with this idea of the quick wins that can create good results and visible results in your communities. And the next topic, let's talk about also designing livable public spaces. For that, what is livable? We will talk later, or we will think about this. But at least we can say that livable spaces are spaces that are used by people, that are enjoyed, and they are not just spaces that people pass through. No, they provide comfort, accessibility, identity, and interaction. And for that, for creating livable public spaces, I think there is a key concept that is the placemaking concept. I don't know if how many of you are familiarized with the placemaking idea. I guess you all, but I think that there are a lot of placemaking is community-led processes. They are also like for designing collaboratively these interventions or these public space transformations. They are also, this placemaking idea is a very experimental idea or involves experimental processes. They should be iterative, that it means that we can use tactical actions. Later on, we will talk about tactical urbanism, but they can use prototype and testing as very efficient tools to improve public space quality. For sure, placemaking is also an integrated approach of public space design that connects different topics such as mobility, accessibility, comfort, image, and so on. When we're starting, placemaking is led by one of the main figures, maybe it's Jon Aguirre, the others are Project for Public Spaces. I think this tool created by PPS is really interesting for you when you start working on a public space project, and also the different questions that this method, the PPS method, is showing. No, is enabling. No, that like such as that you should consider when you start working in this placemaking projects. Involving placemaking in rural context also involves or means a lot of different things. No? For me, for instance, reclaiming streets and squares as social infrastructure. It also, placemaking in rural context could help strengthen the intergenerational interaction, also supporting care networks through this spatial design, and also, and you mentioned this in your SWOT analysis, no, activating underused spaces with low cost and community-led actions. No, these small-scale actions should be also involved in a broader or wider placemaking strategy. And in terms of bringing together mobility and livability or public space design, I would like to talk to you about a concept that is the complete street concept that somehow bridges these two ideas, mobility and public space. No, maybe this concept is familiar for you, and I know that complete streets are often seen as a city thing or a very urban approach. But in reality, and nowadays we can see a lot of work going on, especially in the States. I think that are becoming this idea or this methodology is increasingly becoming relevant in rural context. No? Why? Well, because I think that rural streets already play multiple roles. No, for sure, in a lot of villages, streets are roads, but also I think that because of their proximity, their meeting points, their school routes, their market corridors, their bus stops, and also even memory lanes. So I think that this is a very good starting point to somehow implement this idea of complete streets. That the idea behind it also is very simple but very strong, is that design streets that can work for everyone. No? And the main features or the main characteristics or key characteristics of complete streets should be like the non-motorized, promoting non-motorized and public transport, ensure universal accessibility, combine this idea of mobility and public space design from an integrated perspective, enable shared uses, also enable like or prioritize proximity and active travel. Also can be implemented through tactical interventions, and also can, as you can see here, are the path for green infrastructure or implementing green infrastructure, and also combining with climate adaptation and mitigation strategies in not only in urban context but also in rural context. No? So for me, this is an opportunity to somehow combine in rural context mobility and public spaces. You have a lot of I think that there are a lot of ideas for this, but if we, as I mentioned, we can land or we can think on complete streets in rural areas that I strongly believe that they have a tremendous potential for rural context. No, they can be designed for everyone, and for sure applying or implementing the idea of rural areas in rural areas. You need to think it as a methodology, as a tool, no, that improves mobility and public space in an integrated, inclusive, and participatory way. No, and this somehow makes sense to apply this in rural areas because many of the values of complete streets are already present in villages. No, villages have a more human scale that enables walkability. Villages have a social proximity that foster this spontaneous interaction that is one of the objectives of complete streets. Traditionally, in villages, we can find a multi-purpose public spaces, and as it has already mentioned in the strengths of the SWOT that we made, villages had a strange sense of identity with also associated with the street itself, or the how we live in the streets. No, so I think that well, mainly if we try to adapt this concept, we should think on a framework that can improve the safety and comfort, enable this active and shared mobility, also help us to redesign these streets to be inclusive and accessible, and also focus on the idea of activation streets as a space for social and economic interaction. No? So I don't know if you have any questions so far. No? Okay. Can you raise your hands on, or just thumbs up on, how many people know the ideas of placemaking and complete streets? A lot of you. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so we have another Slido moment now, but I think that well, maybe I will skip it because we are running out of time. Okay, but in any case, so we can continue to this block that should be like the main block of the presentation. Okay. Okay. So one moment. Yeah. Well, and now I'm going to present different inspirational practices or case studies. These case studies are grouped in 3 thematic families of intervention, and they respond to a specific interest and challenge or concerns that arose in the context of beyond the urban network. Okay, so well, Monica and Clyde told me that you have interest in these 3 topics, so I tried to gather some inspiring examples that could be helpful for you. So let's start with the first group, stops and stations as rural placemaking nodes. Well, the first example I think is simple, but I think is so simple that in its simplicity, it's so brilliant that I think that, and also very transferable to other contexts. No, maybe you are familiar with this ride-sharing benches project. I think not only this comes from a German village, but I think that they're becoming increasingly popular around all the European rural context. They, in Germany at least, they introduced these ride-sharing benches that literally is a bench placed on the roadside and marked with a clear sign, and it involves a hyper local mobility system. This means that when somebody sits there, there is it means that this person needs a lift, and passing drivers now they're invited to stop and offer one. So you just sit there and wait that somebody picks you in his or her car. So you already mentioned the idea of no digital platform here. You don't need any digital apps. For sure, they are creating different digital tools and digital platform for shared mobility in rural areas. But this is just a bench, and for me, it's just a civic piece of civic furniture and local trust. No, these benches are located in the edge of villages or visible crossroads, and also they try to integrate or connect with information points or community centers or any other uses that could be helpful for the state. For me, the main things or the main features that make powerful are this idea of really low cost human scale solution. This also is technology that somehow improves interpersonal trust in local community, and for sure enables this tradition of helping neighbors. So I think in the end of the day, it extends the informal social connections. So there are a lot of transferable learnings and key features that you can see there. But for me, the best part that it's cheap, it's scalable, and it's really recognizable, no? And it really works. Another similar idea is this idea of the citizen bus schemes that comes from Belgium. At least this example comes from Belgium. But not only, because in other countries such as Austria, they are also implementing this solution. In Belgium and Austrian rural areas, communities have set up flexible bus routes that are coordinated locally with volunteer drivers to serve specific groups, no? Older adults, students, or people without access to a car. I mean that people with cars use their cars as buses for other people. So for me, this is a powerful tool for areas where public transport has been reduced or is not so well connected to other areas. No, you mentioned this. This is a great problem for many of your villages. So I think this is a very good solution, not only for mobility. I mean, this is not only a mobility tool, but also this is an excellent or a good way for social interaction. No? They support independence, helping people reach healthcare or services, and during these journeys, they can strengthen community bonds, because once again, it's about interpersonal trust. No. Also, these routes or these bus schemes can be really flexible. They can run on fixed days, others can be on demand. I mean that you can create your own citizen bus scheme, and the main point here is that once again the most important thing is that you can co-design these bus schemes with people and the community. I mean, like mapping people who have cars, the people who have needs and don't have cars, and somehow these community-led processes can prove that rural transport can be also relational, inclusive, and somehow low cost. Okay. Another, the third case is more a research or a database for that you can use. Is an exhibition that started in Barcelona, but also was in Madrid, Sevilla, and so on. But I think that it gathers a lot of different examples that can and offers valuable insights for rural planners. No, Post-it City. This it's a project that mapped and documented informal, temporary, and spontaneous uses of public spaces in cities all around the world, and I think this could be really inspirational, no? Because they were it maps or it gathers unregulated taxi stops, flea markets, mobile altars, informal games, pickup areas, and mainly spaces that are not formally designed but are vital to everyday life. No, so in rural areas, this type of use of areas are also really common. So I think that one of the key lessons here, or that Post-it City shows, the project Post-it City shows, is that not all important public spaces are the same. No? Sometimes they emerge just from the practice, and I think that they somehow deserve to be recognized and supported, or be supported or integrated into wider or broader spatial or strategies. So I encourage you to start observing if you can find this kind of informal uses that you can incorporate to your own strategies. So now let's move to the second family of cases that will be that we will be focusing on rural streets and public space designs, and mainly in the idea of collaborative street design, no? Like to create more inclusive and adaptable and multifunctional environments in your villages. Well, this is the first example I'm introducing you. Is in fact an adaptation or implementation of the complete streets concept into a small semi-rural, small village or a small town in a semi-rural context. No, this is in Aspe, in Alicante region, near Alicante, in Spain. As I mentioned, complete streets is not morphology, or is not an idea. It's rather a tool or a methodology that we bring it to this locality of Aspe, and somehow the intervention we define reimagine or redesign the town's main axis as a street for all, shaped through a participatory process with local residents. This project helped us to change how people relate to the street. We also introduced different interventions and transformations that make people feel safe, and also we introduced the idea of urban acupuncture, like creating like very specific interventions and making visible improvements with very limited resources. And also through this participatory process, we build more collective confidence, and this project also could inspire further transformation. No? And as I mentioned, and I don't want to repeat a lot, but this project combines mobility, community engagement, and ecology, and also street design in just one process. So creating this integrated approach and creating this shared vision for this project, it was a key success point for it. Next one is about another city. City is a peri-urban city in the outskirts of Madrid, Torrelodones, and we again in Paisaje Transversal we redesigned this Prado Grande Park. It's a collaborative design process based really in the placemaking approach that we in Paisaje Transversal redefined with our own methodology that is called the triple dimension of public space. But in this project, there were two main aspects. One was the intersectional gender perspective in the participatory process. This means that we worked with different collectives such as elder people, women, youngsters, children, disabled people, and so on, to create a more inclusive design really that responded better to their needs. And also this integrated approach. We work with not only accessibility, but also with landscape, with mobility, with nature-based solutions, and so on, no? And also increasing biodiversity, and so on. So finally, this collaborative and co-design process of this park shown us that we can create a multi-purpose infrastructures for care, activity, and identity. You know, that parks and squares in villages can be a very strong social infrastructures if we design them correctly. No, me being an architect, I'm really aware on how architects and urban planners usually design squares and parks in a very hard and with a lot of concrete. But I think it's time to redefine how things are designed and transformed, and that in your own municipalities, when you are starting a process of redesigning a street or redesigning a square or a park, you should start from good analysis with involving citizens and communities, and also really defining which are the problems to define proper solutions for them. No? So don't have an architectural contest. Start a process, a co-design process. Another solution that is, I think it's interesting. This is accessible village. It comes from Italy, but I think it's also applied in other rural contexts around Europe. It's not a one-size-fits-all toolkit. It's a framework to help villages identify and remove everyday barriers for disabled people. No, I mean, like stairs without handrails, uneven surfaces, and so on. So I think this accessible village toolkit or method starts with analysis, community-based analysis, working the villages with residents, and especially with those that are more well aware of the accessibility problems, such as older people, children, and people with disabilities, or people in wheelchairs, and map with things work and don't work. And once we have mapped this, it's time to define the solutions that are really often simple and affordable. No? So this is, I think, it's a very transferable project that it's really easy implementing, and it has very good results. So okay, that was I have the title, but and finally let's move to the last block of these inspiring cases. But now I'm not going to tell you about specific cases, and I'm not going to explain you specific cases, but I'm going to somehow explain what is tactical urbanism, and well, which ideas you should consider in order to implement tactical urbanism in your villages. So in this sense, understanding tactical urbanism is important to understand it not as a final goal, but as a tool for permanent transformation. No? In this sense, tactical urbanism has become such a popular buzzword, no? That is often associated with quick, colorful interventions, but the key question is that whether this action can create meaningful and lasting change, or they are just surface level improvements. No, so I mean, if tactical urbanism is well used, is well designed, and it's community driven, can be a powerful catalyst for transformation. But when it's imposed or disconnected from a strategy or a real transformation, can easily turn into urban makeup. No? So I would like to somehow explain, no, you which a critical overview on this tactical urbanism. And as I mentioned, I didn't choose I did not choose any specific case studies, because on one hand, the most talked tactical urbanism, or the best well-known tactical urbanism projects, come from large cities, and they are maybe distant for rural or small town realities. And I didn't want to label intervention as successful or unsuccessful without really knowing the full context. No? So I just made this list that I'm not going to present entirely, but I think that these do's and don'ts you should take into account if you want to develop these tactical interventions. And well, these are some ideas that and proposals that I specifically designed or I'm proposing for small towns and villages. Maybe we can, because we have just run out of time, that are here, we can maybe work on later, or if you have any questions about them, we can just comment them afterwards. And in fact, this image is taken from Urbact network. So, and finally, I would also like to encourage you to take a look to the different work that is being developed from the different projects and networks in Urbact. The ongoing APN Urbact network related to mobility, but also others that are already close but have a lot of good solutions and good learnings from you can take interesting ideas from. So these are the main, or at least for me, the most interesting Urbact networks related to public spaces and mobility that could be inspiring for you. And at least, but some final words regarding this mobility and public space solutions in rural context. I think that mobility and public space is not only a technical question. It's about working with life, equity, and belonging. Also, as I mentioned, rural transformation starts with context-sensitive strategies. You can use complete streets or placemaking as tools that are useful to create more vibrant rural streets. Tactical urbanism, if it's done right, can trigger lasting changes. Please, once again, look to Urbact networks, to other Urbact networks, and connect with them and bring the solutions and findings to your own IIPs. And finally, I would like to say that rural innovation is not as copying urban models. No, it's about trusting in your own scale, rings, identity, and designing from there. Because I strongly believe that the future of rural areas won't be copied from cities. It will be co-created by communities. So thank you very much. I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Any questions? I think that this last part of examples would have been great to expand, but we can keep on talking about that. You can contact us by email and ask for specific examples or whatever. And we will also send you the PowerPoint. These will be recorded and in our YouTube channel. So don't hesitate to contact us or John for further information, because it was really interesting. Thank you all for coming. For those people coming from Beyond the Urban, wait, I will send you the link of the coordination meeting in the message board, so we can jump into our coordination meeting. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, John, for your experience, ideas, and examples. And that's it.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John, and thank you, Monica, and to everyone.
Thanks.
It was a pleasure.
So for all you here, okay, I'll